3 years of grinding, but it only took 1 year to change my life completely. I'm making this video because I want to show you how persistence, failure, and effort can transform everything in just 12 months. You're probably here because you have a dream of being a content creator, but maybe you're stuck in a cycle of self-doubt, working a job that drains you, and wondering if it's even possible to make this your reality. I've been exactly where you are. That's why I'm going to share how I went from being where you're at to a full-time content creator, living my content creation dreams. And look, I'm not making millions of dollars. I make 10,000 plus a month with a solid system in place that gives me the freedom to live comfortably and focus on what I love. And here's the thing, I'm no genius. I graduated high school with a 2.4 GPA and scored a 14 on the ACT. So if I can make this work, so can you. And that's exactly what I'm going to be helping you with. Finding the counterbalance between building a sustainable income, overcoming the doubts that hold you back, and avoiding the burnout that stops creators in their tracks. This video is raw, actionable, and straight to the point, so I'm not going to do any fluff, no fancy editing, just me and you figuring this out to make this happen. So first things first, we need to get to the root of what drives you. Whether it's money, freedom, creativity, or something else, understanding why you want this is key. When I started, I didn't know really what drove me either. I just knew I liked making videos and business felt really exciting. That was enough to get me started, but here's the exercise that helped me find my real why. And this isn't some cheesy know your why advice. This actually works to help you get to the bottom of it. So start by asking yourself, why do I want to be a full-time content creator? Maybe you'd say, because I get to make videos and have potential to make more money than I do at my current job. Or maybe it's because I want freedom to work on my own terms. Both are great starting points, but then ask yourself again, why is that important? Keep digging deeper, and each time you ask, you're peeling back another layer. You'll start with something surface level, but by the time you've asked yourself 5, 4, 10 times, you'll hit the real core reason that drives you. Maybe it's freedom, maybe it's proving to yourself that you can actually succeed, maybe it's about building something meaningful. Now, if after this exercise you feel like money is your biggest driver, that's okay. But ask yourself, what does money really mean to you? Is it freedom? Is it security, happiness? Let that deeper reason fuel your journey, not just the number in your bank account. Whatever your root is, that's what's going to keep you going when things get tough. And to help you take action on everything in this video, I've created a free guide that covers what we've talked about so far and everything coming up. I'd suggest watching the whole video first, then dive deep into the guide. As you go through it, you'll start to uncover deeper insights about your journey. If you've been holding off on starting, here's why it's so important. When I began as a content creator, I didn't have fancy gear or a perfect plan. I had a GoPro, zero experience, and a lot of curiosity. My friend and I even landed a $250 gig for a local company, but when they asked for a revision, we didn't even follow through. And looking back, it wasn't about getting it perfect, it was about learning and taking those first steps. And honestly, those early projects were super mid, but they were pivotal. They taught me how to improve and gave me my first bit of confidence that I could actually get paid to do this. I learned that creating isn't just about making videos, it's about solving problems and providing real value for your audience or clients or whatever it may be. That mindset shift changed everything for me. One of the first big wins was a $500 shoot, something like 20 photos and 3 reels, and it wasn't really the money that stood out, it was the moment I realized if I can do this once, then I can do it again. And it also taught me that clients don't expect perfection, they just want someone who delivers. What sometimes feels like a 5 out of 10 to me, on some projects often looks like a 10 out of 10 for the client. So if you're waiting for the perfect moment to start, then you've already lost. And remember that version done is better than version none, baby. Hit that hard, okay? Taking those first steps and learning as I went gave me the confidence to keep going. Without a clear direction, it's easy to work hard, but feel like you're going nowhere. Again, this is why your root why is extremely important. And that's exactly what led me to burnout hit me hard after I'd been doing this full time. I was only making about $1,000 a month, barely enough to scrape by. I was paying for gas, rent, food, and just trying to stay afloat. But I felt like I was spinning my wheels and going nowhere. The self-doubt started to creep in. I had big ambitions, but no clear direction, and it felt like no matter how hard I worked, I wasn't making progress, and with all of that, I had a classic case of shiny object syndrome. I was chasing every new idea that promised quick money or success, but all of it was a waste of time and put me farther away from my goals. All that extra fluff and distraction just left me feeling burnt out and unmotivated. And looking back, I realized that the root of the problem was actually just a lack of clarity. I didn't have a solid vision / root why for where I was going. And I knew I needed to reset. So for me, that meant dropping my only client and moving to Hawaii for a couple months. I just needed space to think and figure out what I actually wanted to do. You don't have to go that hard. It could be something like a weekend trip, hiking in the mountains, or, just unplugging for a day. Find something that brings you peace and helps you get all the fluff out of your head. When I came back from Hawaii, everything changed. I stopped chasing quick schemes and distractions and focused on what I loved, which was creating high value content for companies and myself. I also prioritized learning what I didn't know. I took online courses, reached out to other creators, and really invested in my education. You don't know what you don't know, which is like a super basic thing to say, but it's so true. So if you're in the same spot, I'm creating a free course that teaches you how to land clients and build a 6-figure content agency with all the information that I have, everything I've learned, which is also in the link below. Again, that's totally free, and you can check that out after the video. The biggest lesson I've learned about burnout is this. It often comes from spinning your wheels without a clear direction. If you're feeling stuck or burnt out, it might be because you're focusing on the wrong things. So I invite you to take a step back, figure out where you want to go, and focus on what really matters. So gain some clarity, and you'll be surprised how much lighter and more motivated you feel. Once I understood where I was headed, I could start building a solid financial plan to confidently transition into making content creation financially successful. And when I started going hard, I was living on $800 a month, no car payment, sharing a house with roommates, scraping by just to cover rent, food, gas, I had no safety net, no clear direction, just the determination to make it work. And honestly, it was stressful as hell. I remember counting every dollar and wondering, is this even possible? And maybe your situation looks a lot different. You might have a family, a mortgage, a full-time job, and some real financial commitments that make the idea of switching to full-time content creation feel impossible. And I get that. It's a whole different ballgame. But here's the thing, these same rules apply no matter where you're at. You need to create some kind of safety net or a system and a plan that works for your life. First, get clear on your numbers. How much do you need each month to cover your essentials? Then build a 3 to 6 month cushion. This shifts you from creating out of desperation to creating with confidence. If saving feels impossible, that's okay. Make it your side hustle first. When I started, I'd hustle day and night knowing every small win would add up, even if it was like $100 gig. So if you need $5,000 a month to live comfortably, think of it this way. That's just 2 $2,500 clients. But trust me, that is way more achievable than you think, even part-time. But to be completely real, this isn't easy. I skipped college and made sacrifices most people weren't willing to make. But I'll say those sacrifices opened doors I didn't even know existed. Along the way, I learned to focus on what mattered, which was creating systems, staying consistent, and outsourcing tasks like editing, which can be a common bottleneck. You don't have to do it all yourself. Your job is to deliver value, and more value than your client could have ever expected. So here's a big takeaway. Preparation is key. The financial stress of jumping in unprepared will crush your creativity and motivation. But with a plan, a clear goal, and a little bit of patience, you can set yourself up for success. If you're serious about making the leap, again, I have that free course that I'm working on down below. Sign up for that. It's going to be really valuable. And like I mentioned before, it took me 2 years to see any real sustainable success as a content creator. And sure, there were some random months where I made $3,000, but for the most part, it was scraping on $1,000 a month. And let me tell you, that's not enough to feel like you're making progress. There were plenty of times where I felt like quitting. I'd catch myself thinking, what if I'm stuck working a $15 an hour job forever? And that's terrifying. And if you've ever felt like that, you're definitely not alone. Burnout, self-doubt, wondering if it's worth it, they're all part of the journey. One thing that really helped me push through was surrounding myself with friends who were on a similar path. When you get people around you who are just as obsessed with growing and learning as you are, you learn faster, stay motivated, and keep going when things get tough. That's how creators like Mr. Beast kept moving forward. He and his friends worked together and challenged each other, and look at where they're at today. My path was not a straight line. I started out shooting wedding videos because it seemed like the easiest way to make money here in Utah. And sure, I made a couple $1,000, but I didn't really enjoy it, so I pivoted and started exploring niches like overland and off-roading. And eventually, I landed a game-changing gig, and that gig wasn't just about money, it was about finally working on projects I loved while getting paid for it. That was amazing. And it took me 2 years of trial and error to reach a point where content creation felt sustainable. But those 2 years taught me that success isn't just about, talent or luck, it's about persistence, adaptability, and really just surrounding yourself with the right people and taking some steps back. If you're feeling stuck, remember this, the creators who make it aren't the ones who never struggled, obviously. They're the ones who kept going despite the struggle. So stay patient, keep improving, and you'll get there too. And again, guys, I'm still learning. I'm on the same path as you. I'm still on this upward trend of figuring out where I'm going. So whether you're just scraping by like I was, juggling the demands of a family full-time job, the key, I would say, is staying focused on truly what matters, providing value, building systems, and surrounding yourself with people who inspire you to keep pushing forward. I hope this video helps you take that next step. If you're ready to commit to the journey, download that free guide that'll help you go over all the stuff we talked about. And if you're struggling landing clients, you're gonna wanna go ahead and watch this video. Peace, guys.